ourselves.
Dawn DeSorcy, staff.
Ty Lackland, commission member.
Craig Broad, commission member.
Chris Bartek, commission member.
Shane Blazer, commission member.
Elizabeth Whalen, commission member.
Jack Winforth, staff.
Sue Show, staff.
Dean Veneman, chair. Go to first item on the agenda is to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion by Curran and second by Blazer. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're going to move past item 3. Come back to it. Oh, never mind. We don't have to move past.
Hi, Amy.
We don't have to move past item 2. I assume you're Amy.
I'm Amy. Yes,
Oh,
thank
you're
you.
on the clock.
Yeah.
We just drafted you. So actually, we will not
If you
move.
want to, I mean, if you want.
Oh,
it's up to
okay.
you.
Sure.
Come on up. So item 3 on the agenda is consider approval for the creation of a recreational swim team program, including the hiring of a coach / instructor, the rental of the school district pool, and the setting of fees for program participation. And we're joined by Amy Marquardt, who's representing the potential swim team. So
Yes, thank
Amy,
you guys.
you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I've lived in Wisconsin Rapids basically my whole life. I think we moved here when I was 2 years old. And really seeing like what we're doing with the community has really been great. And my daughter has been with the YMCA swim team for the last 2 years, and we're not getting the participation in numbers and growing that team, really outreaching to the community to get other members to join. So a group of us have gotten together to say, what can we do to change this? And we just feel like having it outside of the Y would give us more outreach with the, the amount of kids we can help and support. At the Y, swimmers have to pay for their Y membership, then their swim team fee. For some kids, this is just a swim team fee is almost $550 for the season. So my daughter went to every meet last year, and our Wisconsin Rapids community had,
550 not counting the membership?
not counting the membership,
Thank
for
you.
ages 13 and above. My daughter would have been like almost 400. She's 10. But some of these meets, there's only 2 kids, and we have Point and other ones at those same meets, 30, 40 kids coming. So we
And that's covering the team registration for the meet, I'm guessing, correct?
know the meet fees are separate.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And that comes out of parent pockets too?
Yes. And they did do some fundraisers to help us with the meet fees, but especially families that have more than 2 swimmers, they can't afford to grow that way. So I was part of their parent committee, trying to help them. I was head of concessions. What are we doing wrong? And we got a coach over the summer that really had the same vision we have with, we want to bring a swim club to this community, but not just for swimming, to be an outreach to the community. So, we're planning on doing the United Way rake of, having the kids get out to the community, and then supporting them that way. So
So Amy, can I ask you, so you said Stevens Point has, so many more kids. Are they outside of the Y?
they are not.
So they're part of the Y?
They are
But does-
part of the Y.
Does the Y do it differently up at Stevens Point?
To my knowledge, they have their coaching staff there has just really grown that team. They're actually, I'll be honest, more expensive than the Y. So I don't know if that community, if they just have a more elite families that can afford it. But our community It's like, and swimming is such a great sport for kids. Not only for them, you know, because there's nothing public outside of the Y before the kids in 6th grade. Then they could go to middle school swim.
Okay.
So I'm pleased with the group that we've been able to kind of to bring together. With the costs that we have now, we need 25 swimmers. We're almost at 30. So we can meet and exceed the cost of the program.
Can you talk about the financials a little bit? I'm not clear to me what our responsibility is.
Yes, so when we thought of doing this outside of the Y, we kind of looked to partner with Parks and Rec. They have they know how to support programs, registration, getting flyers out to the community. The marketing outreach is tremendous. We don't have that yet. And really having that structure already in place for us to be a part of, to help with registrations and payments and insurance and those kinds of things.
So financially, the cost here, whose responsibility?
Right, it would be that would be the member's fee per swimmer. So there would be, right now, I think we've had it $275 if you're within the city for the whole season, that's 5 months. $325 if you were out of the city limits.
So you're just really looking for the program
It's
type stuff.
it's a big program and is of pretty big significance, so that's kind of why, and we did a lot of discussion to try to figure out how we could make it work, and had talked with Sue, and she had felt that it would be best that we bring it to the commission to kind of see how you felt about it.
Yeah, my only concern is, well, you're sort of opening the door to a group, and then what if other groups want to do it? I'm not saying it's wrong, it's
No.
just, it's your time.
What do you mean by other groups, other sports?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, why couldn't they? I mean, we could have adult hockey league come here and say, we don't have enough people, help us. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's okay, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking
I think
that,
that's a valid
That's-
concern.
So the way that this is written up, if you charge the residents, $275 or $325 if they're out of the city, are you expecting that all of those funds will cover all of the costs?
Yes.
They would, the expense would be basically the cost of the pool and the coach.
Yeah,
And that's what
60%.
That's what you've tabulated in the table below.
Yeah.
So
and
the
six-
$7,000 is the cost for the entire season. That includes pool rental,
Yes.
fees, and
Yeah,
swim
the
meet costs,
lifeguard
that kind
and
of
the
stuff.
lifeguard and the swim meets. Yeah, so that would be all of the fees for that. 60% right now is our pool rental, so that's where the cost is, just to get access to the pool. We started conversation with Scout at Lincoln so we're kind of working around what they already have, set for schedules. So we've been able to get kind of earmarked a few days that we could, who knows if this takes off and we get a bunch of kids, could we, what does the community swim nights look like? Do they have 50 kids coming? When we will have 50 kids coming, can we share the pool? Can we, right now they really want us to keep it separate, which is understandable. This is kind of new for them with supporting swimmers at Lincoln behind that age. Also with us having the aquatic center, we thought in the summertime we could bring the costs down and have a few practices using our city facility.
Right, we did talk about having like a fall-winter season and then a spring-summer season. And the
Yeah.
bulk of the summer practices could probably be at the aquatic center, at least for endurance. And I mean, it's not a regulation pool, but they could still practice in it.
What does the school district require?
Well, that it's available, which is the primary issue, and then the fees, I double checked with Scout and Ron and Chris that you're looking at accurate numbers in terms of what, like an hourly cost would be. And then, the expectation of all of our policies for rentals and leases of facilities have to do with getting a $1 million umbrella policy and those sorts of things too for liability. Which I would imagine is part of what you're shopping around as well.
Yes.
Just trying to find that backdrop of liability insurance for people participating in something.
Yeah, because that would be considered our little liability if we were under the Parks and Rec. If it's something we need to do on our own, then yes, we'd have to get that insurance for ourselves.
Yep.
It's been a while since my kids swam for, not in this way. I swam for the Port Edwards Y when I was growing up. But it's been my kids swam for Madison Y when we lived there, and so it's been a while since we've done that sort of cost. Obviously, I have no idea. But tell me how long the typical practice would be for you guys.
It's about an hour and a half
About
to
an
2
hour.
hours. 2 hours for the older kids. So it really, because the girls' season with middle school, I think, already ended. High school ends in another week, so a lot of those swimmers and parents are looking for a program that kind of wraps around that school program to continue that swimmers, growth that they've already made. You know, if they don't swim until next summer, then
Yep.
they
Yep.
lose a lot of that progress.
And so the time for meets, is that factored in here too?
Yes, just for coach, because our fees, this year it was paid. We had a donation to join this Central Wisconsin Swim Conference. I'm sorry, it's a USA Swimming
Yep.
conference, and we Rhinelander, Merrill, Tomahawk, all of them are in that conference, and it's just one fee. Parents don't pay for their kids to swim
Yep.
at any of those meets then. I think the only additional fee is if a child, to be honest, qualifies like past the season and goes to like state and regionals, then that would be a separate fee. But that would be up to the parents. Are they gonna let their kids swim?
Sue, did you have something?
Yeah. I guess it was my understanding, well, first off, I've struggled with this in terms of weather and, in terms of risk management and so on, to take this on. I think what it's envisioned is that it would be a city program. It wouldn't be run by the club, your club, or the parents or anything. That the city is taking over the whole thing. We're hiring the coach.
Ouch.
We're having the insurance. Right. So, which I think is, I guess I was thinking, well, why couldn't you be the club, right? Why couldn't you be insured? Why couldn't you hire your coach? Why couldn't you contract with Lincoln? Instead of the city kind of taking control of it, right? The city hasn't kind of done anything like this before, and we had asked if there were any others like this, and we weren't able to find any with the city actually ran the swim team. It was all either club based or mostly through the Y. So I guess, and the other thing that I had heard was, in terms of the reasoning for this, the Y is still having their team, right?
Right.
Their swim team.
Yes.
So this is a kind of a competitor to them, and the
I
reason,
wouldn't.
and one of the reasons that people were leaving or want to leave, I mean, I guess I'm confused as to why people are leaving that program and why, if it's well, they don't have enough people, then why is everyone's leaving it and to come to the city, and I guess, like I said, because this is kind of a different model, and I would advise more towards, having the, I mean, you have a good group of people and you put a great package together for it, so I think you, so go with it, don't involve the government in it.
Right.
Go with it, and I know you're concerned about having an employee, you're concerned about insurance, but I guess for the city to take all of this on and be responsible for that employee, and we're used to kind of you know, our employees, like our T-ball coach or our, you know, most of the volunteers, they're not as hands-on and as, you know, intense
As
a
a
relationship between, and this would kind of be a whole new kind of thing for us, and, in terms
Sure.
of kind of the time involved in, that the program does, and not that there's gonna need to be a lot of oversight, but it's just kind of a whole nother layer of, and I don't wanna say liability, but of issues in terms of, you know.
Sure.
And I got, the other thing, I'm sorry, I came from a medical appointment and I didn't bring my notes that I had. As I said, this isn't something we've kind of done before. We don't really have the facilities for it. We don't have the employees for it. This is, to me, is more like a RISA situation or a soccer situation where the clubs or the parents are organized, and then you're affiliated with, you know, maybe the USA Swimming or whatever.
Sure.
And then you can get your, you know, that might be a vehicle for your insurance and all of
Mhm.
your other things, and you're already into the swim, you know, into the swim conference, into the meets. So that really didn't even have anything to do with the city. I guess I'm just a little concerned about getting involved in this when it's really, I think it would be a better, I feel like we're on Shark Tank. I think you could do better on your
own.
Instead of
And I-
getting,
yeah, and I
getting
appreciate-
involved, and
yeah.
especially if you need marketing, maybe we could help, you know, we could help with that in terms of, but I guess I just have a lot of concerns with
Yeah,
doing
and
this with the, you know, with the Y still having their team, and then us kind of taking on this whole nother program, which seems to be more kind of parent and club led versus city led. And now I'll be quiet.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think originally we were just kind of looking at options to see, and Dawn and Jake were both great with trying to, what would this look like? What, you know, is this a possibility? Is this something that we would want under our city umbrella? So there was just a lot of investigation before that. We did go to the Lincoln Aquatic, because we only have 2 pools in town. We either swim at the Y or we have Lincoln. And I mean, Nakusa doesn't have a pool, Port doesn't have a pool, so those communities are kind of left out as well. So I don't know if Lincoln was ready to like have that same deal that they made for Dawn and for Jake, not knowing that we have this group together. So you guys pushed that farther than what we did with just a few calls to the aquatics team. Now that, you know, maybe that group knows us, is that, you know, do we have to go under the Parks and Rec in order to rent the pool? Can any club? And maybe that's that's a non-issue. You know, if this is something that, you know, that the Parks and Rec won't do and we do on our own, we'll have to just see, are we a club without a pool? But when
the
you
policy for renting is available online, and from my interpretation, I don't believe there would be any difference because of working with the city. If you would establish as a nonprofit and you're
Yes.
local, based
Yes.
out of Rapids or Grand Rapids, arguably, or the school district, then you would, I think, qualify for those rates. I say I think because I'm not
Sure.
the guy that does the invoicing for this all the time, but double check the policies online
Sure.
because it is delineated by various groups.
Okay.
Right, so that shouldn't change. The rub's gonna be is that it's gonna be hard to access the pool, and you're gonna have it at like 8 to
Right.
10 p.m. and stuff like that. It's the same stuff we deal with at the rec center and ice availability and those sorts of things. But here again, if you have a program, you meet the requirements and pay the rental fees, and it's available, we don't care. More power to you.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
at it. That's what the facilities are for. So,
Right.
and it doesn't matter to us who if the city's the parent, or a different entity that you develop with insurance, the parent, that shouldn't really make too much of a difference. Unless you're a for-profit organization, then there would be a differentiated cost, or you're coming from out of the community, there'd be a differentiated cost, that kind of thing. So
Sure.
that shouldn't change these numbers that we're looking at.
Not, okay.
And
you.
so what is the current number of swimmers on the current YMCA swim team, including people that are considering leaving?
Last year, it was pretty low, I'll be honest. I don't know if we had, over the summer, I think they may have gotten to 40. I don't know what they have now. I was looking at pulling my daughter prior to, during the summer, like the end of the season, it's like, is this team going anywhere? We don't have the coaching. We don't have any support. We can't get other, we can't get other resources. They'll discount the Y membership, but they won't discount the Y, the swim team cost. So that was a big thing. So we had considered, okay, do we just go to Point? We'll drive, we'll get my daughter into a program that's growing, that's thriving, that has the support. And then we kind of thought, what about our community? We have people here. Let's see what we can do to get a swim club or a, team going in this area.
So I guess my question, what percentage of the existing team is thinking about being in your club, and what percentage is still staying at the
I don't
Y?
know I only know what I've heard, so it's not, I don't want to speak to, to numbers. I can tell you, we have almost 30 kids. I have heard that they only have 6 right now. But I
So
know
in
they're trying to do
in
things to
essence,
outreach.
if your 30 kids moved on, they probably won't have a swim team at the Y. They can't have a swim
I
team with
think-
6 people. with 6
Right,
kids.
I don't know, yeah. And I know they're doing things to kind of grow, and they've decided, we got a coach that has experience, has had All-American swimmers, has a great background. I was so shocked in 2 months what he did with my daughter. And I'm like, wow, this is something I could see grow. And then they just decided to move a different direction. And at that point, I said, okay, this isn't for us.
Okay.
Has the city ever collaborated with the Y on other programming?
Yeah.
I thought a lot about this too, concern with Dawn was, do they have the capacity to manage this as a park and rec program? And then what happens if your coach quits and leaves? Now the city's gonna have to try to find another coach, or how is that relationship gonna work? But I agree with you, my concern is, all your kids go to Point, because we lose kids in other sports during the summer to Point. And I don't necessarily have an issue with doing this. I just been concerned about park and rec and their capacity to be able to handle and manage it, because they're already busy. And
Yes.
otherwise, I don't have an issue. I'd prefer to see a swim team in town. Obviously, it's a feeder for the high school, and I think that's important for the high school
Yeah.
swim team.
And we didn't see the Y as competition with, Lincoln now, those programs don't connect. The Y is really not a feeder program for
Oh.
rapid swimming. I was surprised by that. My husband was in sports, and he said, why don't the kids come here and help or volunteer? Or, there's none of that camaraderie, so it's very separate. And that's what we were hoping was one of our mission, not only to grow in the community, but can we be more of a feeder program with that wraparound team for the high school team?
So where do
you know,
those
grow that.
swimmers come from then, do you know? The high school swimmers?
Well, there is a middle school team. So, if kids start swimming like when they're in 6th grade, then they can, but there wasn't like, what are you doing for your practices? What are we doing for our practices? Those kinds of things, or kids coming down to support.
Isn't the Y concerned about this? Sounds like they need a fix.
Negotiations.
Well, but,
Some collaboration
yeah,
would be good.
but so, this happens in other sports too, where if you make that move, you're just taking it away from the Y, and then what are they gonna do?
We did,
I
we
don't
did
know.
talk with them, because we didn't want them to not be aware of what was happening, and,
I met with.
Is it all about cost?
I think that might be a good
That's
part of it.
yeah. Part of it's cost, and their fees even went up more this last year, so it's almost like those kids that are 13 and older, the $500, $550. Then you have the meets, then you have the Y membership, so it's pretty expensive. We have some families that were at the Y that had 2-3 children,
Yeah.
and that's,
Yeah.
I I guess I'm less concerned because the Y is a membership-based organization, and
Yeah.
Park and Rec is, our fees are acceptable whether you're a resident or a non-resident. That's what we look at for our fees. And the Y, I'm a big connoisseur of the Y, but it is membership-based, and you have to be a member to be
I
part
don't
of it.
think you have
Or-
to be a member, like the
No,
basketball
some
league
things
that
have
they do.
non-resident, yeah.
They have a non-member.
Yeah, for a swim team, you have to be a member.
Yeah,
But it's not really our program.
No. What's that?
I mean, it's not really our program. I don't care if you're charging a resident or a non-resident, they're getting the money.
No, we're getting the money.
We're getting the
Well,
money,
you-
they're getting the swim time
Right.
and the coach.
The
Who's
Park and
paying-
Rec would
who's
pay
paying
for
the
the
bills then?
pool rental, Park and Rec would pay for pool rental,
But from
Park
that
and Rec
money.
would pay
From
for
that
the,
one week, yes.
Yeah.
from the registration fee.
But then, like
We're-
you
we're
said,
just a
we would also
pass-through.
be responsible for the employee, making sure the program stayed.
That's my
going.
concern is, yeah, will that responsibility fall on Dawn when she's scrambling to find a swim coach, you know, and,
And we'd have to keep
And
the
then-
numbers.
well,
Or
then,
if there's
yeah.
Right.
issues,
Yes.
Yeah.
issues are gonna fall to
Issues.
you,
Yep.
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
If you don't have 26
Organizational
swimmers, what happens
problems
to the
and-
cost per swimmer?
Mhm.
yeah.
Then it would go up. Yeah.
Well, we also talked about, I mean, with less than, say they're practicing 3 times a week, if we have less numbers, it'd be 2 times a week,
Yeah.
We'd have to find a way
we'd
to
have to
cut
find a way to.
Cost.
a little bit.
Cut
Yes.
costs.
Right, cause I don't think,
Because we'd want to break even at
Right.
least and
Yeah.
ideally make a little bit to be able to maybe purchase equipment or something,
Sure.
you know,
Mhm.
whatever might be necessary. So, I mean, our programs generally don't cost the taxpayers anything. They're kind of like, we collect so much money, we hope we cover whatever the costs are for that and ideally make a little bit extra to cover any expenses that could come up.
that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
I don't have issue with it, but I just wanna
Yeah.
be aware of your schedule
Schedule.
and what you have to juggle and manage throughout the year.
Summer will be crazy, but it's always that way.
I don't have an issue with it either, but I would defer to city to tell us whether or not this is something we can do.
Right.
And it's because you wanna lease the pool, lease the pool. I mean, more
Yeah.
power to you. I don't have any concerns about, you know, worried about the why and this idea of taking a program from them, but they've been consulted with.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not ecstatic about it, but on the same hand, if you did develop your own entity and came to Lincoln and said, we wanna rent the pool, then yeah, you can
Yeah.
rent the pool.
Cool.
I mean, so,
Yeah.
I don't wanna see, opportunities for kids locally, you know, change or be devalued.
Right.
But here again, our role is to be thinking about this from the perspective of what can the city handle?
Yeah.
And if this isn't something the city can handle, then I think the answer is no. But from our school district perspective, we don't care. There's not a
Yeah.
dog in the fight. If you wanna rent it, great. If you
Right.
don't, that's fine
The more
too.
the pool's rented, the better.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I'm extremely passionate about the why, but this also makes sense to me. Okay, I'm sorry if the why it loses business, that happens sometimes, but they have to be more competitive on programs and do the right thing. I think as the city's concerned, again, just like the mayor said and just like Craig said, if the Parks and Rec department thinks they can handle it, I would support, I would support the move to do that.
So Sue, you made some points. What about the insurance? I mean, how does that,
Well, it would just be, I mean, we are a pretty large entity, so, I mean, it would be, the coach would be an employee, obviously, the participants are participants in our programs. It would, I mean, our insurance isn't gonna change or anything, I mean, it's just an additional person to, you know, manage and make sure, you know, they're doing all the correct things with, as a coach and instructor. But so, yeah, I mean, there would be, obviously there would be cost, if they went out on their own and did this, there would be a
Yeah.
cost to them, probably, to get it through whatever, some large organization, swimming organization, or to go out onto the downtown and.
Didn't you say there was a USA Swim?
Yes.
I mean, it's like $15, isn't it, to be a member with insurance?
We were looking at that route just to see if kids needed to have that for, if they were to, you know, get to past the season. I don't know what the cost is yet.
I mean, they have USA Hockey, they have
Right.
figure skating. They're pretty minimal.
I want to
Costs.
say it's like $90 a kid for that USA, and I don't know if every kid has to have that in order to get their insurance. We're working with one of their reps now to get some backlog. Do we go through insurance with that, like you're saying, or I don't know if we'd have a lot of kids qualifying for the parent to pay, almost $100 for that fee yet.
Does your group realize or accept that if Dawn is in charge of the program, that it's not a group of parents making decisions?
Right.
It's Park and Rec department makes all the decisions, and a parent group doesn't get a say if. Park
Yeah,
and Rec
then we
has-
knew if that happened, we would be more of a booster.
Right.
Maybe we,
I just don't wanna see
you
this
know.
infighting of
Sure.
parents deciding that they wanna do something a certain way, and our employee, the coach, and Dawn decide that that may
No, that's
not be
out.
best for the team. I
Sure.
just don't wanna see any headbutting kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're not happy here, we're gonna leave and go to another team.
Right, no.
Or do something else,
Right.
That'd be another concern.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that if this would happen, that you understand that it's the Park and Rec, that is their
That's-
program and
right.
not a parent program or the coach's program.
Is this something that has to happen quickly?
Yeah, I saw October 16th on this date here.
I mean, what if it didn't?
Oh.
What if it didn't happen then? What happens?
It wouldn't, it would just push our start. The first meet's like November 25th, so we're looking at around Thanksgiving. We'd like to give the kids some pool time before their first meet. Starting mid-October is not unusual. That's when a lot of teams start practicing for the conference. And I've been looking at other schedules of what Rice Lake and Minocqua and all those other areas are doing.
Is there any other due diligence going on, or you're just counting on this?
I would say we were working kind of both angles to see, is it, we're just kind of waiting on, once we know like the final decision, if it's not that we're gonna be under Parks and Rec, then we're looking at what do we need to get the nonprofit and to get started in the insurance, so yeah,
That's not gonna be a quick thing.
no.
And do you require that, did you say?
The insurance,
For
I
them to
believe,
leave?
yes.
Insurance you would need.
Yes, insurance, yes. Nonprofit, I think, could take a year to 2 years to
Yeah.
get.
And cost, unless you got an attorney that's doing
Yes.
it non-gratis.
Mhm.
I don't know, I think there's other questions, but I don't know.
Well, biggest question still seems to be if these two can handle it.
Yes, that's what I was gonna ask, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I feel like we could at least see how it goes for a season and see just how much extra work it's going to be for us. I mean, obviously, if everything works out with the coach, that's gonna be a big plus. I mean, this is a little bit of a quieter time for us. I still have a lot going on, but it's quieter than the summer, obviously. If we could kind of get things established this time of year, it would be a lot easier moving forward because it would always be somewhat organized in how we would do it. And then I guess we would decide how things went after the season and if it would be a spring, summer thing.
So would we be, so what would the work be for registering the groups for like the swim meets and things like that? Would that be under, Parks and Recs as well?
I'm not sure how the swim meet registration works. As far as registering the attendance, like any of the kids that are going to be swimming, that is all done through our software.
Yeah.
Easy, yeah, that's easy. We would be able to get flyers out and share, all that information pretty easily, quickly. But as far as the meets, that's the only thing I'm a little bit,
Yeah,
like I'm not
it would
too-
have to be kind of falling under the coach, and I'm guessing a volunteer to key that in, because what the home team requires is that you provide a form that says this child is swimming the 50 free, the 50 butterfly, and then you submit that form to them. So the parents would have to, a Google form would work, where
It's
they
usually
just.
submitted by the coach though, isn't it?
Right.
Okay.
So it would be submitted by that coach. Just what events is that kid gonna, normally, are they gonna be in a relay? Which events are they gonna participate in? And then, the coach would submit that to the home team like the Friday before the meet.
I mean, we'd have to be part of that, at least oversee that, but.
You have to write a check or try to
Right,
get
yeah.
a check done.
What if you don't get the minimum?
I am surprised that with no advertising, I'm almost at 30.
Well, then why do you need?
For the insurance.
For the,
Just because the word's out?
I don't know if the word has started to get out that, that this opportunity, I know we have a lot of high school girl parents have said, what's going on? How do we sign up? It's like, hold on, what information can you share? So I think the word's gone out in the community, but we haven't, publicly, like any kind of Facebook or things going out to the school, we haven't done any of that. It's just been other parents kind of talking and sharing.
Have you gone as far as checking availability at the pool?
Yes,
We
yes.
have, actually, the,
Monday, Tuesday,
Oh, it was
Friday,
scheduled for the top.
yes. So Tuesday would probably be for the older swimmers, cause that 7:30 start's gonna be a little late for we only have a few. I think it did deter some of the younger 6-7-year-olds, because that's a late time for a little one.
Do you have any thoughts, Jake?
Yeah, I just, like we've talked about, I'd be worried about if numbers start dropping off and then we have to, up the price on registration and
Yeah.
or completely get rid of the program. Sue brought up some good points too, but again, I look at the recreation, we are here to support the community and the kids, and that's why all of our programs are cheaper than the Rapids Kickers and Rice and stuff like that, for kids that can't afford, families that can't afford to do other activities, so
Yeah.
I think,
And to even help with the fee, because we were hoping to even, if we could get more numbers, bringing that cost down, because we have parents already that have said, I'll sponsor a swimmer, and we know at the rec, we can do like gift cards to help them pay for that, because, to subsidize that cost.
So things like team suits and all that, those would be the responsibility of the kids, right? Or
Yes.
Your families, I should say.
Yeah,
All that kind of thing. 'Cause that always,
They're
that's,
on-
that is at the Y too, right?
right, correct. Yes. And the equipment, is pretty minimal, goggles, a cap. But we were hoping of, as a booster side of the parent side, working with some sponsors, that we know, are wanting to support this group, to maybe even help buy all the kids' caps, those kinds of things.
Does the travel fall onto the parents, and is there any liability there?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
parents
parents
would.
would have to,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
yeah.
That's the way it works for club soccer, baseball.
Yeah, swimming, you drive, down to Milwaukee to watch a kid for 30 seconds.
I know, exactly.
I was
Get
so,
in
I
on
was
the
so
pool.
glad. I was so glad when my daughter switched from the 50 free to the 500. So at least if I drove all the way to Milwaukee to watch her, I could watch her for 5 minutes instead of a minute. I've done a lot of swim.
That's
time.
true, you
I've
swim.
done a lot of pool time.
Time.
So you're
And
gonna
the
have to have-
facility at Lincoln is just so beautiful.
Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
just really, really nice.
You're gonna have to have some separate accounting done too. To
Probably,
keep track of all this.
right? Yeah.
No, I
It'd be
guess.
a big program, for sure.
I guess if Park and Rec's good with it, I'll make the motion to get our things moving here to approve the creation of a recreational swim team program.
With a minimum of 20 participants. How about that?
Perfect.
Minimum of 20?
Or maybe those 25
This
was
is
equal
25
to-
would be
It says that they have
Yes.
26 to be
Right.
Yeah.
equal in terms of that overall
Oh.
take. The
Yeah.
concern is,
We
what
can
if we
cut
don't
down.
have enough kids? Well, you're
Right.
not gonna stop a program if you have 25 or 24.
Right.
Right.
And
20.
I think in the first year, we say you need at least 20.
Yep.
And then, of course, you're gonna have to adjust fees to make ends meet. You're saying you got 30, so it probably
Yes.
wouldn't be a concern. But at least for the
Good.
Park and Rec Commission, for the city, you know, if it falls below 20, there's no program. It's done.
Right.
Right.
Good call.
Yeah,
Fair
I'm good
enough.
with
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Did you want that amendment to
Yep.
the motion? So
Yep.
do we have a second to the motion then?
Second.
So we motion and a second to approve the formation of a recreational swim team with a minimum of 20 swimmers. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so we will get moving on it.
Thank you guys for your time. I apologize for being late. I went to the
You weren't.
county
It was actually
courthouse and the
4:00.
sheriff's like, you're not in the right spot.
That happens all the time.
And then I'm like.
It wasn't actually late, I looked at that clock. On my watch, it was only 4:02, so.
Oh, okay.
And you had to talk to the sheriff? My condolences.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
He's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can tell him I said
I
that
was a
too.
little flustered at first for being late. I'm like, sorry.
Oh,
Try
you're-
being his neighbor.
Thank you.
Right, that,
You're
you
his
gotta live
neighbor?
by 'em, yeah.
Oh, my God.
You should do you should hear about the Christmas adventures,
Unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
the Christmas wars.
He was at the, Facebook, he was at the Badger game yesterday, and the town seemed fine while he was gone.
Probably safer.
It always does.
Okay, so we're moving on to discuss ideas for the remaining Teskey fund.
So I did look at the balance today of what we actually have still in there. It's $237,000 and some change that someone spent. Where did we start with? I think we spent around $57,000 for Prairie Dog City. So that came under budget. So, I think Dawn had put some pictures in here of, bird exhibit. I know we spoke about this many times. And ideas. So now it's kinda, we gotta make a decision on what we wanna do with that, Teskey fund, so.
What's the bird update gonna cost?
Well, we contacted the Green Bay Zoo about that to see if they had any idea, and I have her email, and she said it was built 30 years ago. She can't find any information on the cost, or even who built it. But she did say, they had a snow issue and the roof of it collapsed, I don't know how many years ago, many years ago, she said. So they had to hire some architects to actually repair that and redesign it, but now it's held up.
The roof of the,
I'm assuming it must
like
have,
the
I don't know
little
how it
octagon
was.
area there?
Maybe, I was gonna say, the shelter part or the, I mean, I assume that it would actually be the netting that.
It must have been the netting.
Oh,
but
sure.
This is
Unless
the
they have a
newer.
different building there for
Yeah.
them.
To me, it's, if we do that, it would be something that we can roll up or down for, snow doesn't sit on there all winter. If that's possible, we do it at the rafters for their netting.
What kind of birds are we keeping in there? Are we expanding it? Are we just changing what we got, or are we just making it bigger and keeping what we got?
Well, I think we had,
Adding.
yeah, we'd probably be adding, I know we had talked about the pelicans that they had, that they had 2 of them, and you could buy fish to feed them or whatever, and they had gotten those
So those are
through
just,
rescue.
but those are pulled out during the
Like
winter
that
time.
rescue eagle.
No, those are their.
Pelicans hang around in the winter?
I believe here, they,
Hmm.
yeah, they're at.
Seagulls do.
Don't you
They're
think
in
so,
Walmart
Chris?
parking lot.
Well, I know seagulls.
And pigeons, eh?
Seagulls, I don't think, you could have a nuclear war and there'd still be seagulls.
So how, refresh my memory again, how are we making this new?
My point is then you're gonna have to leave the net up, right?
Oh,
Well,
that's
they
the thing,
can't,
you would have to.
yeah.
It depends
they're
if they can
year-round,
fly or
you're
not.
right.
The
Yeah.
eagle there I know couldn't fly that they
I
had.
don't think pelicans are, they couldn't fly either.
Do they have, does there have to be some separation with any of these, or?
Yeah, I think they were all separate exhibits at the new zoo, right? I wasn't there.
No, they were all running
They were
around
all
together.
running around.
Yep,
All
there were
along.
ducks and
So how does this,
pelicans.
because aren't, the caveat has to be new, so we can't redo existing, right? How do we work on that?
We can, Asher said that we could redo existing.
Yeah, we can, I believe so.
Yeah, cause I thought we had talked about, you know, expanding the Fox so that exhibit, so he had
What was I thinking that
grass.
it had to be a new thing, a new exhibit?
I think it just has to be
It's
an exhibit,
construction
it
of
can't be like
facilities.
a playground or anything.
Okay.
Something like that.
It had to be a exhibit related.
Right,
Yes.
Updates.
So we
or
can
improvements.
update existing.
It's
I
sole
think so.
purpose of construction of buildings, housing, and enclosures for wildlife at the city zoo for the benefit of the youth of the community. So.
Which we
Before we
interpret to
talked
be
about
like
having to be new,
renovated too.
but that's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to renovate that area.
Yeah,
That'd be a
it's
pretty,
big area.
that's a big difference.
Yeah, make-
Can we do the Fox area too?
I don't think.
That got done last year. It's the cavies.
Well, what's the next area then? The Bear area? What would we do?
The old bears.
The Z-Donk.
Bear.
Does he talk?
Sea-Donk's fine, he's got eye contact with the kangaroo.
Probably still-
That's right, cause it's the cavies and then the porcupine, was it, or?
It's
or no,
porcupine.
porcupine, yeah.
Oh, it was a porcupine,
Yeah.
not
Yep,
the Fox,
yep,
that
Yeah,
was what I was
yeah.
thinking, yeah.
Fox is done.
And we're gonna do the porcupine?
Yep.
That's next year?
Yeah, if we wanna do it, that's what we wanna use the Kesky fund for. I'm all for it,
Well, we
so.
should get some
Estimates.
estimates
Yeah, I think
on
we
all
should.
these,
It'd be,
and know when we hit the number
Right.
Yeah.
or
I think we
don't
should
hit
get
it.
some design.
Yeah.
mainly it'd be the
quotes and-
fencing, we can do everything else in-house.
Yeah.
Check them off the list.
Yeah.
I don't know, no idea how much something like this would
That's
cost. I
tough.
know from,
That's a lot of money just in timber though.
well, when we met with Marshfield, I know just remember the posts for the, was it the mountain lion? What was the exhibit that they had?
Oh, Mountain
Mountain lion, yeah, they said those posts were crazy expensive, so.
Those were metal.
Yeah. So I don't know how we would have to somehow figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I am working with the Mead Witter Foundation on all the ash tree that we've been taking down, they've been taking in, and we're gonna refurbish the wood for usage in the park, so this would be a project that we could use that wood for
Well,
deck boards.
you're never gonna spend the money.
I know.
Spend the money.
There'll be plenty to spend money on.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you can get estimates to extend those patents and then kind of do something for this. And then we'll better know where we're at.
Now's the time to get the estimates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're ready to go in the
Well,
spring
just-
or
You
whatever.
have the direction to go ahead and do those. I'll start taking a look at that stuff.
Yeah.
I
So
think we
which
need to
one's
take
great?
action on that.
Are you thinking you're gonna try to design it yourself, or would we get somebody to look at that area with us and kind of design?
Yeah, remember that gentleman we met there from Baraboo
Mhm.
who did, what do you do, the otter exhibit?
The otter, yeah.
I could reach out to him and see if he has any.
That might be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause one of the concerns was when we were touring it was that, power line that went across
Oh,
that
that's right,
exhibit,
yes.
and, you know, how that might affect, you know,
The
the
height.
netting and height
Yeah.
needs depending on
There
what
goes the
birds you
cost.
have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, if they can't fly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, you do have to protect them
Can't
from
you-
actually
can't you
other
drape the net right
birds,
over the
you know,
power line?
predators,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I
probably
mean,
could.
that's part of the, you know.
I'll do that.
I don't see why not.
Okay, so go ahead and direction
I'll have
then.
a direction for that.
Okay. Now, update on the dog park. We got the
Leash cutting
leash
Wednesday.
cutting on Wednesday.
I'm very disappointed to tell the commission that I can't make it because we have a library board, library personnel committee or finance committee meeting at the same time.
Send your dogs.
I should. I wish they could drive, then I wouldn't have to keep asking people to cart me around.
Get him an Uber.
Did
And
you
what
get
time
any
is that
votes?
leash cutting?
4:30.
The name's picked, boys, is gonna mention that's why I wanna go so
Yep, it
bad.
is.
Oh, it's top secret?
Top secret.
Yes.
There's a
I'm
sign
pulling
made
hard
and
for
everything.
Parks and
Oh.
Well, you're gonna
Recreation.
unveil it there?
Yeah.
Wow.
How many votes did you get for the name?
I don't know.
Oh, there was a lot.
But that one was,
There was a lot.
that one won by a
But
lot.
overwhelmingly a lot.
Far and
Yeah.
away,
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
pulling for Parks and Recreation.
It was one of the three that you guys chose.
Yeah,
I
that's what
can't
I-
remember what
How
I
about that
voted
for a
for.
history?
still can have my favorite.
Yeah. You can always call it that if
There
that's
was the
not
write-in
it.
candidates.
So
I
what-
could share the picture of the sign.
I think it's Park and Bark.
No,
Any
no.
other,
It's
any
a
other updates
secret.
other than the,
Big
Leave.
secret.
We're ready to rock and roll.
okay,
So
so,
is it open yet, or is it open
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
So the only thing that we, aren't
Should I
gonna
repeat
be
that?
having is,
Yeah.
water. Because a week from now, we have to winterize it, so
Right.
we're not doing the potable water, so.
Did you run the wheel around the inside?
Oh, nope, gotta do that yet too for future projects there.
That
And then for to know how many, if you walk around it 3 times, it's a mile type thing, so I have like a sign for that for people.
So yeah, we want to figure out the distance, because I'm sure people would want to walk
Yeah.
on the inside
Have
of
a
the
nice
fence there.
sign that.
Okay.
Lapson.
Yeah.
That's good, thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
okay, and moving on to item 6, Tom, do you have the bills?
Yeah, I've reviewed them and, move for approval of $6,748 and some change.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. By Tom, and seconded by Craig, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Staff reports.
Oh, got flyers for fall. So we actually were able to hire a gymnastics instructor, which was why there was a little bit of a delay with getting our programming out. Those classes filled up almost immediately, so they started last Wednesday. Our adult flag football league filled up with 8 teams. We still are struggling a little bit to find reps. There's a couple of players that have stepped in, our employees now that are helping out, but if anybody wants to rep flag football, we can still use a couple more.
So the 8 teams?
Yeah.
It's 8
Wow.
teams, yes,
Wow.
yeah. And actually, I think we could have had more if we.
What's the average age of those teams? Any idea?
I was there one night, some of those kids are pretty young, but some are.
When I
I'd
was
say in the
there,
Low, somewhere in the
30s.
low 30s.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it skews young is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to it.
We can put a Park and Rec team together.
City.
Tom's the quarterback.
Gotta rehab
A
my,
commission team.
gotta rehab my ankle.
Push us around in a wheelchair.
Pickleball and volleyball and basketball registration all closed this Friday. We've got a good number of people signed up for pickleball and basketball. We still have some space for teams, and then women's volleyball too. We do not have as many teams as we've had in the past, but quite a few co-ed teams. So I don't know how, I'm gonna be on WFHR tomorrow morning to hopefully promote that a little bit more. We started really early with the promotion for volleyball teams and basketball and everything, so I don't know. It seems like COVID kinda hit that and it just hasn't really fully recovered. I don't know if that's what did it or what happened, but other than that, we've spent a good amount of time on the swim team stuff, talking with people and trying to get more background on that. And then just trying to get a couple more things together for the dog park leash cutting. We want to have some sort of memorial item, and I'm trying to get that together so that we've got some information about that, possibly for Wednesday. If not, it'll just have to be after.
What do you mean?
We had requests for memorial items, like maybe some pavers or something that would be engraved, either in honor of or in memory of or
We could
whatever.
fundraiser for the park.
Yeah.
You had a
Maybe
dog
put that
mess
to,
with it.
yeah, put it towards maybe like agility equipment, you know, or a shelter or something that we could, try to fund for.
Is there any place on the website or anywhere that talks about if you're interested in donating?
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
Yep.
Any interest?
Well, we have a bench that's already been purchased that was the homestead of the family that purchased it, and they decided they really want it there, so that bench is there. Well, the
So far, we've
way stations,
received $1,700 for donations, so,
which covered all the way
which
stations.
covered all the way stations.
For the dog park, you said? Oh,
It's a
cool.
good start.
What would we do if we got money?
That's not
Do we
bad.
know?
Right now, it's in a separate account.
No.
We gotta
What
do
would
some-
we use it for?
Oh, gotcha.
Probably-
Some dog parkour.
Yeah,
Challenge course for dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
yeah.
Agility course?
Yeah.
People really do
Tunnels.
love.
Ropes course.
The dogs love that stuff.
Water school agility stuff.
Agility course, I think a outdoor pavilion would be
Someday,
nice.
yeah.
Something covered.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I think would be neat to do, like an asphalt pavement on the inside of the park. So like in the wintertime, we could plow it and people.
For the
would walk-
walkers?
For walkers.
People on walk, let their dog run.
That would be really nice.
There's a lot of areas that we could.
It's gonna be open in the winter anyway, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Just have to
Well,
wear
yeah,
snowshoes.
the dog park gets walked down in the winter, and
Yeah.
you have a walkway pretty quick.
Yep.
It's slippery sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Staff, park staff, a couple weeks ago, I know this doesn't pertain to this commission, but our rooftop units at the Shirley Center got installed. That was kind of a big deal. Continuous tree care maintenance, site restoration on stump grindings, grass cutting, string trimming all the parks, highways still. Again, September, shutting down the zoo, cleaning up all that, getting ready for the winter. Then we went through, going through all the fall and winter for tree trimming for the plan for winter. And then winterizing the aquatics, putting tables, chairs, and canopies away. So that was the month of September.
Thanks to your crew for moving those grass.
Oh, when we talked, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we have those, you can see them.
Transplanting them, that was
Yes, we
great.
transplanted them. So
Where are we at with the budget? It's October.
Vern, budget, what day are you?
Thursday to the committee of the whole.
Yeah, we have a committee of the whole meeting, and you guys are on Thursday, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So you're just presenting what it is for final approval, or
No, they present it and then we review it.
you haven't seen it yet?
Pardon? We've seen drafts, yeah.
Yeah, just
We've
that.
seen drafts.
Last month, right?
Last month.
Yeah, last month we had it here, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I asked about capital items, they weren't on there.
Oh, yeah, you did, that's right. Do you have any capital items?
No.
I was gonna say, there's no
No.
like
Well,
plan.
because we
Plans. I mean, the meat
took
part.
care of the outlay as a result of
Right.
the Mead
Mead-
Park project.
Yeah.
That's been about it.
Or the,
Your grant?
But you were doing the
That's the
extra
grant?
too at the same time.
yeah, well, that's, what do you call it,
Basketball
room tax dollars.
Okay.
Gotcha. No, we
Yeah.
don't have any.
Oh,
'Cause-
yeah, we were going to do something with the baseball,
Yeah.
Yeah, move the
fencing.
fence.
Right.
Oh,
with
and the
the
fencing,
fencing.
all
Yeah,
at
at the same time.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Cause that's something you guys do in-house,
Yeah, we work with Water and Light with that, cause they would move the poles back.
light poles.
Yep, light poles.
You should kinda maybe get a rough number of what that might cost you, but otherwise it comes out of our forced labor account.
Yeah.
Okay. So there wouldn't be a need for more fencing because it's moved back and made larger?
I would have to talk to American Fencing on
Okay.
that.
And that's another thing is if American Fencing may be involved, the cost for
Yep.
that,
Yeah.
give them a call.
When is it final normally?
November
November 15th.
third Tuesday, oh no, it's different this year.
Oh,
Remember?
It'll be after our meeting though, probably.
Yes.
So we won't see it. Or will we see it in what
Second
state it's
Monday.
in at that point?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Cause then approval, the levy would be approved after that.
November 13th would be the commission meeting.
The 14th is council.
oh, that's, we're doing it because of, we did something different because it was Thanksgiving this year, right?
Yeah. we
Third
do-
Tuesday was Thanksgiving week,
Yeah.
so we're meeting.
So the 14th is the adoption of the levy, the next day.
Yeah, because it would have been Thanksgiving week.
Okay.
And the public hearing is on the 9th.
November 9th?
Yep. Yep. Thursday.
That's when the chamber should talk too?
That's what I need to ask is when would that be appropriate time if there's gonna be a change when that's made? When I don't know if you caught the email that I responded back.
I did.
So- Okay, but I wanna figure that out and get back to you and Stacy.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, next item is item 8, which is adjourn. Motion,
Make a motion.
Second.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.